Kimberly Brown here, running for CPS Board of Education in District 4. So, first video, I introduced myself. Second video, I told you about my current professional credentials and why I think I know I am qualified to sit on the Board of Education in Chicago. And number 3 in this series of 3, I want to tell you a little bit more about myself and my background, my lived experience, and why I am so deeply passionate about high quality and accessible public education. I was actually born on a farm in Oregon, which is now Pinot Noir country, but we grew up on a Christmas tree farm. And my dad is from Oregon, my mom's from Chicago. We had lots of kids, and my parents moved us back here to the west suburbs of Addison when we were in grade school. Both my parents knew the importance of strong education to thrive, and they also knew they had to work. So they chose a home near a school that we could walk to because, to a degree, we became latchkey kids. Times were tough. The farm was not doing well. My mom had and my dad had to work multiple jobs to make ends meet after we moved back to Chicagoland. And so it was really important for my mom and dad to have us have a high quality education. Now, at the time, they chose a private Catholic school because that's how they grew up. But more important, when I spoke to both of them, as I decided to go on this journey, they said it was that I could walk to school, that it was the local school. And my sister, my brothers, and I could walk there to and from safely, and the neighbors could all keep track of us. Um, as I got older, our home life deteriorated. My parents' marriage was not healthy. My parents came from unhealthy homes. They did the best they could. There was no physical abuse, but it was mentally and emotionally not a great place to grow up at a certain point. I acknowledge that, like today, I have a beautiful relationship with my siblings and my parents. We've all done a lot of work on therapy and setting healthy boundaries to have that relationship. But I will also say that if I was like a young person during the pandemic, I can't say I wouldn't have run away or maybe had to go live with a friend because it wasn't a great house for me. Um, and so I look at that as school being a really great place for me as an escape, as a light at the end of the tunnel to say there's something beyond just the four walls I slept in at home. Um, when I went to high school, I went to Addison Trail High School as a public high school, and there was amazing diversity. Languages, I don't know, over 50 languages spoken. Maybe I'm making that up. Tons of languages spoken. Immigrants, first generation, just amazing diversity. And that was wonderful. And I did sports and I did student government. We were incredibly involved. I absolutely loved it. And again, it showed me a world that was outside my home and that I could get out of. I knew I didn't want to stay in Addison, and I knew that I needed to get a scholarship to get out. And I knew I wanted to go into government. At this time, 9/11 had happened. We were in a war in the Middle East, and I thought, I'm going to be a spy. I'm going to go and do national intelligence work. And so I got the opportunity with my parents, kind of like support to push me and my teachers to do some work in DC. And really got involved in student government and federal government and applied to Georgetown. I'm going to be a politician. I got waitlisted at Georgetown, and I did an application to Northwestern and to the middle school of journalism, and I got accepted with a full ride. And so I went to Northwestern to become a journalist. If you know anything about journalism, true journalism, you know that it is the fourth estate. It is the pillar of democracy. And so I spent my young adulthood learning journalism, which is a foundation of democracy, fact finding, laws. And it's just an incredible experience that is a foundation of who I am. I also learned how to gather information quickly, understand the difference between fact and fiction, and communicate. And that's really important in this job. I also lost my first boyfriend to suicide, and my second boyfriend's father to suicide, and two of my good friends to suicide, who I met at college, and they took their own lives just recently in the past couple of years as adults. So mental health, especially mental health of young people and young men, is as deeply close to my heart. And I look at schools as not just places to learn, but as wraparound institutions that support young people now more than ever. We're seeing that social emotional need um, deeply connected. It's one thing to read and write. It's another thing to understand yourself, understand how you can control what you can control, and give students a place to come and feel safe and have a teacher be their person when maybe that person doesn't exist at home, and be an outlet or a source of inspiration when they might not get that at home. And so I am deeply committed to this work because of my lived experience. My schools and my teachers gave me hopes and dreams that I didn't see in my own life. Not because my parents didn't love me or care, but they couldn't do all of that. Um, I also come from a family of teachers. My cousins are both principals. My other cousin sits on a board of education in Oregon. My mom is a public school teacher. My aunt was a speech pathologist in public schools on the South Side. Um, I love education. It is foundational to who I am, and I think I really wanted to share that story with you because as we live in a city with so much trauma and young people with complicated family lives and food insecurities and differences, at the end of the day, we come into a building, a public school. Maybe that's the one thing that unites us. And in a world where everything is so divided, our communities can come around a building where we all walk into one place with teachers that surround and love us, and we learn and we grow. And even if we don't get all the skills mastered, I want our young people to love to learn, understand how to learn and seek information, and support our communities as like strong, independent citizens that treat each other with respect and invest in their neighborhoods and their neighbors. And that's a beautiful thing that we can do to each other, that public schools become institutions and pillars in our community to do that. So thank you for your time. And again, my name is Kimberly Brown, and I am honored to continue this conversation and earn your support for CPS Board of Education. Thank you.